so psychotic, but also in a way kind of comical that like every single time the rest of the world, like Western leaders are like, hey man, you should probably not kill so many Palestinians.
Spain, Ireland and Norway have announced that they'll formally recognise an independent Palestinian state. The Irish Prime Minister Simon Harris said that the children of Palestine and Israel deserved peace and that it was the right thing to do. Meanwhile, Spain's Pedro Sanchez said that there was an obligation to act, while Norway's Prime Minister said that a two-state solution was in Israel's best interests. At least 140 members of the United Nations already formally recognise Palestinian statehood. Others, including the US and the UK, do not. Reacting to the news, the Palestinian Authority and its rival group Hamas have welcomed the recognition and urged other nations to follow suit. But Israel's Foreign Minister Israel Katz said the move endangers his country's security. He's recalling the ambassadors to the three countries. While Irish Prime Minister Simon Harris explained his reasoning for the move, let's have a listen.
Recognition is an act of powerful political and symbolic value. It is an expression of our view that Palestine holds and should be able to vindicate the full rights of a state, including self-determination, self-governance, territorial integrity and security, as well as recognising Palestine's own obligations under international law. It is a message to those in Palestine who advocate and work for a future of peace and democracy that we fully respect your aspirations to be living freely, in control of your own affairs and under your own leadership.
The Irish Taoiseach there. Well, let's have a listen to what the Spanish Prime Minister had to say. Here's Pedro Sanchez.
The Progressive Coalition government of Spain, echoing the majority feeling of Spaniards at large, next Tuesday on the 28th of May will, at cabinet meeting, recognise the state of Palestine. We are going to recognize the state of Palestine for many reasons, which I can summarize in three words: peace, justice, and logic. Peace, because this is the only solution to the conflict. And by that, I imply the essential...
I still don't understand why recognizing Palestine is such a bad thing by Western countries. Because they're bad people. That's it. I don't know how else to describe it other than they want to do bad things to the Palestinians. And even a symbolic recognition of Palestinian statehood is seemingly breaking through that narrative that, like, no, the Western world is actually unified under the common goal of doing bad things to the Palestinians. That's it. Remember the map I showed you, okay? The world is already pretty much completely on board with Palestinian statehood, universally recognized, damn near. With the exception of a couple countries. Those countries happen to be the most important countries, of course. Those countries also happen to be the countries that are doing the most to the Palestinians. You're always talking shit about America bad, but have you considered America good? I would love to consider America good. It's just that America rarely ever shows me anything good. If it did, I would tell you America good. I want America to be good. That's the whole point of my commentary. If America was good, then I could move on and play Batman Telltale all day, every day, and try to get a Sexo run going. But, you know, we're not there. Now, a lot of people immediately tune me out because they say, oh, your opinion on the matter is tarnished by the fact that you are a campist, or you're a tanky, or you're an America hater. You're a Muslim, Islamist, fundamentalist piece of shit. Anything ranging from, you know, you just don't like America. If you don't love it, leave it. All the way down to like, you know, uniquely weird takes, hyper-specific takes, all of which gets it wrong. Okay? So for me, it is very frustrating to see America doing such egregious things, such awful things. But I'm glad that there are at least other Western countries, whether it is a consequence of elections coming up, whether it's for their own political machinations, have decided to take a stance against America's Western influence, America's influence on the West, America's hegemony, America's superpower status. Simon Harris is definitely doing this because the leftist Irish parties are predicted to win the upcoming local and European elections, and day one they would have done this. He's trying to get ahead of them. Again, good but political move. Yeah. The majority report. Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. To Uncle Sam, my real uncle. We are covering Ireland, Norway, and Spain, recognizing the Palestinian statehood.
Question of the two states, Israel and Palestine, accompanied by mutual security guarantees, as many other countries do.
Spain's Pedro Sanchez speaking earlier in Madrid. Well, earlier I spoke to our correspondent there, Guy Hedgecoe.
Yeah, it's not a surprise at all. Pedro Sanchez, the Socialist Prime Minister, has been campaigning to try and gather support from his European partners for the support for a Palestinian state for some time now, for several months. He hasn't managed to persuade the really sort of big countries in the European Union, the major economies, to get on board with it. But he has persevered over recent months, and he's been working in particular alongside Ireland on this. And Pedro Sanchez has consistently been saying that this is a step that has to be taken. It reflects public opinion in Spain, as well as being just the right thing to do. He talked about this being a move based on peace and justice in his speech to Congress today. And he seems to believe that it's a move which will work as well, given that he has some support from other countries, certainly from Ireland and Norway, in doing this.
That's Guy Hedgecoe there. Well, for more reaction on the day's developments, let's go straight to Jerusalem and join Dan Johnson, who's there for us. Dan, first of all, just take us through the reaction we've been getting from the Israeli government.
The Israeli government is outraged and angered by this move. We've had the Foreign Minister, Israel Katz, recalling the ambassador.
So, what? Israel is so over, they're attacking toddler content creators. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. And I'm glad that there's more coverage on things like this. I didn't really cover the Miss Rachel saga, the Miss Rachel drama, but it's crazy. It's so crazy that CNN is covering it. One thing I do want to say, by the way, is that currently 7 members of the 27-nation European Union officially recognize a Palestinian state. Now, of course, it might not come as a surprise to you, but 5 of them are former East Bloc countries, obviously, who announced their recognition in 1988, as did Cyprus before joining the bloc. Sweden announced its recognition, however, in 2014. As far as I understand, though, the current conversation in Sweden that is being conducted by Adolfo Hitler and Omega Hitler, but Omega Hitler, social democrat, versus Adolfo Hitler, neoliberal far right wing guy, is maybe we shouldn't recognize Palestine any longer. So we'll talk about we'll talk about Sweden in a little bit. It's like, hey, hello, welcome to Sweden. This is the ruling party. We are social democrats who believe that you should kill Muslims. And here is the right-wing party. They are also invested in killing Muslims and think that we need to stop the refugee crisis in our country. That's right. Also, austerity measures are very good. Once a proud nation where the democratic socialist regime reigns supreme, Sweden literally still rests on the laurels of its former glory, okay? Still rests firmly on the laurels of its former glory as all of its current contemporary politics basically rips that entire process of social democracy, real existing social democracy, apart. Okay? Yeah, I remember the Swedish minister saying Israel has a right to kill and then stopping himself. Anyway. Lol, they ain't got nothing on our current Dutch social democracy. Literal Trump lookalike, Geert Wilders. Oh my God, don't even get me started on fucking Geert Wilders, which is just gay Donald Trump. Like, he is just gay Donald Trump. He is literally, if you like did a European AI filter on Donald Trump, it would spit out Geert Wilders. It's so funny. Wait, Donald Trump isn't gay? I mean, Donald Trump is zesty with it too. Here is another wonderful American Civil Rights Movement organization, the ADL, weighing in on the decision. Shame on the governments of Norway, Ireland, and Spain for unilaterally recognizing a Palestinian state. This was always the wrong approach, but doing so in the wake of Hamas's genocidal massacre is a victory for those seeking Israel's violent destruction. It's just like, dude, you're an American civil rights organization. What are you talking about? What? Like, why does nobody go, that's weird that an American civil rights organization is chirping? You've tweeted that before. I know. There's a couple things that I just keep repeating over and over again until it sticks, okay? One of them, obviously, is calling the ADL the Apartheid Defense League. And also, the other one is consistently saying, fuck copyright. Those are two things that I will always repeat. Dutch Liberal Party is about to be ousted by the EU Liberals for joining a coalition with Wilders' extremist party just now. But I would love if it happened. It's kind of funny how much airtime is given to a few majority white countries recognize Palestinian human rights. Meanwhile, the rest of the fucking world recognizes at the top of the hour. God damn it, dude. It's 11:51. It's 11:51. Dude, it's not even like 11:53. That's crazy. Okay, that's cheap. That's cheap. You're being cheap. That's not, that is like, the grace period is 5 minutes. Okay, 11:55 and onward. God damn it. I got fucking blasted on that. I got blasted on that, and I'm annoyed, okay? I'm very annoyed. Here, let's listen to the Oyerishman, okay? Because honestly, I got fucking owned. I got owned. I will recognize that. But you got owned as well in some ways, because I was going to say that at the top of the fucking hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and NBs. Because we celebrate Ireland here every day of the week, regardless. What a beauty. And at the top of the hour, we celebrate Ireland once again. Come, let us hear you tell, are you slendered great Parnell? How you slew them Arabs 2 by 2. Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. You can also get gifted a sub by Sakura Gar. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here it is.
The children of Palestine, they deserve peace. It is long past time for a ceasefire, for the unconditional release of hostages, for unhindered access for humanitarian aid. There should be no further military incursion into Rafah. There should be no more Hamas or Hezbollah rockets fired at Israel. Civilians on all sides must be protected under international humanitarian law.
We will see a united Ireland in my lifetime. We will see a united Ireland in my lifetime.
Today's decision to recognise Palestine is taken to help create a peaceful future, because a two-state solution is the only way out of the generational cycles of violence, retaliation, resentment, hatred, where so many wrongs can never make a right. Just as Ireland's recognition as a state eventually led to the establishment of our now peaceful republic, we believe that Palestinian statehood will contribute to peace and to reconciliation in the Middle East. A peace that honours the legitimate aspirations of all people in the region to live with respect, justice, security and dignity, free from violence or the threat of violence. Today, moving in lockstep with other European colleagues, we seek to be bearers of hope. We want to reaffirm our belief that peace is possible, that justice is achievable, and that the recognition of both states, Palestine and Israel, is the cornerstone on which that peace must be built.
For those of you who don't know, obviously, the Irish Republicans who did liberate Ireland from British colonial occupation, okay, who fought long and hard during the Troubles, they have always felt very close to the Palestinian struggle for obvious reasons, for understandable reasons. The Irish have always been super based on the issue of Palestine in general. You know, because England was the country that fucked them over in the same way that it fucked the Palestinians over. Of course, let's listen to what the Israeli Foreign Ministry had to say.
The possibility of recognizing a Palestinian state risks turning you into a pawn in the hands of Iran and Hamas. Such a move...
Bro, this is literally just a threat. Okay? This is just a threat. They're saying like, you are starting to look very much like Hamas, and we will deal with the Hamas tunnels under Ireland as well.
Move will only strengthen Hamas and weaken an already dysfunctional Palestinian Authority. The fact that Hamas leaders are thanking you should serve as a wake-up call. Your actions will only fuel extremism and instability. Progress can only be achieved through direct negotiations within a wider regional context. Don't be pawns in the hands of Hamas. Say no to recognition.
That's great, man. Thank you. The only ones who would cause more instability following a recognition of Palestinian state are you. Mind your own business. Anyway. Foreign Minister said Israel will not let this go. Katz recalls envoys from Norway, Ireland over Palestinian state recognition. Israel will not let this go quietly. Oh no. Oh no. They're isolating themselves further diplomatically from the Western world. Oh well. Oh no. What will everybody do? Bro, no. I don't understand it. What will anybody do without Israel? What will anybody do without Israeli cooperation? No more ways for you. Say bye-bye to Waze and the shittiest techno music you have ever heard. No more SodaStream. It's like without incredibly invasive surveillance technology and like weapons, some weapons, what the fuck is Israel good for? What the fuck has Israel done? SodaStream, dude? Bubbly water? Is that it? That's it? Waze? Israel only knows one speed, bro. Just killing children. That's it. That's like the best thing that Israel is good at. The number one thing that Israel is good at is just like killing children and then training our fucking cops in the United States of America. Look no further than how gross Sabra hummus is, which I was automatically doing a BDS before I even knew the existence of fucking BDS because of how dog shit it was. It literally doesn't taste like chickpeas. I don't know how they did that. I do not understand how Sabra hummus was able to literally take hummus, which is like pretty similar in taste, no matter what. Like, obviously, it depends on like what kind of spices you put in it, you know, how you spice it up, how you season it. But it blows my mind. It just doesn't taste like hummus at all. Anyway, literally all ADHD medication. Teva is one of the largest pharmaceutical manufacturers in the world. Also, all amoxicillin is made in Israel, if I recall correctly. Also, like a fuck ton of computer chips. Well, I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Let's be real. If they were to fucking try to actually legitimately stop trading with the world, it would be unironically worse for Israel overall. That's my point. Israel has no way to pressure people. Okay? It doesn't. It is a settler colonial state that was literally designed by the Western world and has only been able to be as violent as it wants to as a consequence of the Western world. Without the Western world, without the Western world and its unconditional support, Israel is nothing. It doesn't exist. It is fake, okay? Isn't real. You might as well call it. That's it. And this is something that I've tried to stress to people over and over again since October 7. And many people have even chirped at me and said that I'm wrong. Like, oh, America comprises only 5% of Israel. Mind you, it could. If the United States chose to do so, tomorrow Israel was real, okay? It could. I mean, we'll never do it, but that is the reality. Think about it. Israel needs our unconditional support. Israel needs our political cover. Israel needs our steady trade, more so than many other countries. It's not just the military support that we offer, even though we offer plenty of that as well. And it's baby-killing endeavors and its ceaseless bloodthirst. America always has weapons. It's extremely funny to see the video mention Hamas leaders thanking them as something bad because most countries don't consider Hamas to be a terror organization. My country doesn't. Almost the same map as the recognition of Palestine, but inverse. Yeah, that's the other part of the process as well. But yeah, Foreign Minister Israel Katz recalls the Israeli ambassadors in Ireland, Norway for immediate consultations. Oslo announced it will recognize the Palestinian state, and with Dublin expected to make a similar decision. I'm sending an unequivocal message to Ireland and Norway. Israel will not let this go quietly. Ireland and Norway intend to send a message to the Palestinians and the entire world. Terror pays, says Katz in a statement. Can I just also do another fucking I told you so moment? Remember when I said that if Israel continues to be this like violent psychopathic entity that is like hyper focused on bloodshed, and I said this basically on fucking October 8th, that, you know, it is going to dismantle America's influence over the world. Our undying loyalty, our fealty to the state of Israel and its endless bloodshed is going to basically dismantle American power status. Is basically going to show the world that we have no fucking smoke. We cannot control our own attack dog. The fact that the ICC is applying to send arrest warrants to the Israeli head of state and the defense minister is proof of that. The fact that now you have Western nations, okay, not Eastern Bloc nations in 1988, not fucking the one-off with Sweden, but actual fucking Western nations like Spain, Norway, Ireland coming out and being like, no, we recognize Palestinian statehood too. This is why I always state it opens up new pressure points. It's massively important. Okay? America is an incredibly powerful country. Okay? We have our tentacles all around the globe. We have 800 or at least 400 official military bases all around the world. We have NATO, which is a protection racket. We have the SWIFT financial process that controls 80% of every transaction that occurs globally. It's all run on the dollar. It is very, very, very difficult to dismantle. Okay? Obviously, virtually impossible to dismantle, as a matter of fact. When America says, no, we are going to let Israel go crazy mode, it's really, really hard. Back to the reaction from the rest of the world.
At least from Dublin and from Oslo, and he'd already threatened that if Spain made the same move as Norway and Ireland, they would face consequences too. He says there'll be further consequences beyond just recalling the ambassadors. He said this is a distorted step which shows the world,
bro. You gonna fucking treat them like Hamas? You gonna fucking blow them up? Is that what you're gonna do, bitch?
That terrorism pays. We've had a response from Israel's finance minister as well, who is hinting that he will react to this by refusing to transfer any further funds to the Palestinian Authority, which represents Palestinians in the West Bank. There is a feeling that Hamas has been rewarded for the attacks that it carried out on the 7th of October, that is how this is being seen by some high up in Israeli politics. We've just had a statement from Itamar Ben-Gvir, the national security minister, who said the countries that have recognized the Palestinian state today are giving a reward to murderers and abusers. And I say we will not allow a declaration about a Palestinian state. I say one more thing. In order to destroy Hamas, we need to get into Rafah all the way. That is the city in the south of Gaza. In order to return our hostages, we need to stop the fuel, determine that humanitarian aid only in exchange for humanitarian steps. So he is suggesting the reaction to this should be a step up in military action in Gaza, should be a restriction on aid to make sure that none of it is going to Hamas. And we know already that the aid situation in Gaza has been dire. In contrast, this has been welcomed by the Palestinian Authority and by...
It's so psychotic, but also in a way kind of comical that like every single time the rest of the world, like Western leaders are like, hey man, you should probably not kill so many Palestinians. Like, what are we doing here? Israel will be like, I'll show you. Like the world will be like, hey, you're really restricting a lot of aid from going into Palestinians' houses, like going into Gaza. Like, it's really fucked up. Israel will be like, I'll show you. I'll fucking restrict even more aid. Ha! Fuck you. And it's like ridiculous. They don't understand. They don't understand that like this is only further negatively polarizing the rest of the world against them. They don't understand it. I get that we want to be careful given Israel spreading misinfo and its use of anything to push genocide, but it's sad to see people just dismiss any non-first-hand account out of hand. First-hand accounts are always going to be rare for extreme sexual violence and extremists that like this. It takes so much bravery to come out. There's other credible second-hand circumstantial evidence we should maybe handle with more care and empathy. I understand the instinct not to, but still, yeah, there needs to be more evidence conducted in order to make a proper assertion of what happened, especially as it pertains to sexual violence. I would like for us to be at a place where saying maybe there was some sexual violence doesn't make you a Zionist. I mean, I say that, and I don't think it makes me a Zionist. I say that as well. But if the But if the conclusive
senior figures in the Palestinian leadership, the Palestinian Authority said they welcomed the decision taken today by Spain, Norway and Ireland. They've explained that with this important step, these countries have demonstrated their firm commitment to the two-state solution and achieving long-awaited justice for the Palestinian people. They think this moves the Palestinians closer to full recognition, full statehood accepted by all the countries of the world. But the response from Israel is that this damages Israel's security, undermines Israel's right to self-defense and does not help the peace process in the long term.
And Dan, all of this comes as we're hearing that the United Nations has halted food distribution in Rafah due to shortages and hostilities.
Yeah, there's been a real difficulty getting aid into Gaza, whether that's over the land crossings or via the new maritime route that was opened up last week when the US military put in place this floating platform. We know some aid shipments have been able to get in via the sea route and via the land borders, but then there's a problem of distributing it. There's been a security issue. Some aid shipments have been ransacked by desperate Palestinians trying to get hold of food supplies and medical treatment, and that's prompted the UN to actually cease distribution. We know that very little aid's been coming in through that floating platform, despite the huge amounts of money and the effort that was put into putting that in place. They said they've got to resolve the security situation, make sure they can fairly distribute aid, make sure that it gets to the people who really need it, that it isn't intercepted and stolen. So there is a real issue here. The Israelis are being called on to ensure more humanitarian corridor safe routes so that aid workers can get around in Gaza safely, can do their work, can distribute that aid and get it to the people who need it.
OK, Dan Johnson, thank you very much for the moment. And of course, we've got plenty more on that story on the BBC News website, where we continue to run a live page with...
We have a major development this morning related to the war in Gaza. 3 European governments, all U.S. allies, say that they will recognize a Palestinian state next Tuesday. Now, as you know, Palestinians have wanted this for decades. MTS Tayeb is following this in East Jerusalem and has the latest on it. MTS, this is a very big deal. Can you help us understand the significance of this?
Yeah. If having rapists in the neighborhood is enough to justify carpet bombing, Israel's going to need to rethink that non-extradition policy they have. Yeah, Israel is also relatively densely populated with, you know, that sort of thing. So I don't know. I wouldn't be talking about this like
Gail,
this.
it's an enormous deal for these 3 European countries to do so. And as you can imagine, Israel has reacted pretty furiously to the move by these countries and their decision to formally recognize a Palestinian state. So angry that it's ordered back its ambassadors to Norway and Ireland and has called the plan, and I'm quoting here, a distorted step. As the fighting in Gaza rages on, a warning now to our viewers, some of the images in this report are quite distressing.
Today, Ireland, Norway and Spain are announcing that we recognise the state of Palestine.
Ireland's Taoiseach Simon Harris made the announcement alongside the Spanish and Norwegian prime ministers. The move is both rare and significant.
Wait, is this not good in terms of a one-state solution? Dude, recognizing Palestinian statehood is not a bad thing, okay? It doesn't mean that the conversation stops there. It just means that there's another vector of pressure. That's all this is. Okay? If it wasn't significant, America wouldn't be trying to desperately veto it at the UN Security Council and then voting against it when the UN General Assembly votes for Palestinian statehood. That's it. That's it. That's all this is. Like, I am a one-stater myself because I see that there is only one state there, okay? It's an apartheid state. But having said that, any kind of sentiment expressed, any kind of real legal, real decisions being made in the direction of the recognition of Palestinian statehood is good.
Significant. Only a handful of European countries already recognize a Palestinian state. And the 3 leaders said they hope others will follow as part of global pressure to push Israel to accept a political process that could end the fighting in Gaza. At the Kamal Adwan Hospital in the northern Jabalia refugee camp, 150 patients and medics had to run for their lives after the Israeli military carried out repeated strikes nearby. One intensive care patient was pushed through the ruined street still in his hospital bed. To the south, in Deir al-Balah, more violence and more death. A CBS News team was at the Al-Aqsa hospital after an Israeli strike killed at least 12, including small children and this infant, removed from his dead mother's womb, not even given the chance to breathe his first breath. The sharp increase in violence comes as Israel continues to widen its offensive in Rafah. A U.S. official has said Israeli leaders have, quote, addressed many of President Biden's concerns about a full-scale ground invasion of the southern city. But the White House has yet to signal support for a full-scale assault on Gaza's only relatively intact city.
Now, despite the move this morning by Ireland, Norway and Spain, nations still believe recognition of a Palestinian state should only come as part of a long-term negotiated two-state solution to the conflict, a position also held by the U.S. Nate.
MTS Taib in East Jerusalem, thank you.